The tempest of the sea rose up around us, the dark waves threatening to bring us down with the monotonous movement up and down. Suddenly, a great beast emerged from the deep. As a child who has always loved marine biology, I'm not ashamed to admit that the first time I saw a whale, I cried. The natural world is how God speaks to me. But growing up in Texas, a primarily conservative state, there's a palpable stigma around environmental conservation. Now, imagine a school where students lack a basic understanding of recycling, and the administration does not provide a recycling service, even though it's readily available in the city of Plano, Texas. This is my school. My name is Davis Works, and I attend Prestonwood Christian Academy. In response to the fact that Prestonwood does not currently recycle, we have developed the Environmental Conservation Objective, or E.C.O. We at E.C.O seek to retrain the minds of the Prestonwood community utilizing a recycling club as a springboard into the deeply complicated issue of conservation. We want to plant the seeds for a school that's grounded in stewardship.
Now today, we present the opportunity for there to be an environmentally sourced and directed program oriented around recycling. Now, what will this look like in reality? We designed there to be a system of 3 phases. The first would be the assertive training. The second would be an awareness training, actually. The second would be practical application. And the third would be an outdoor immersion system. Now, what would awareness training look like? Well, it would be fundamental in understanding the other 2 phases for sure. But after that, what we would envision is that awareness training would help students understand the why of recycling, what it is that we're trying to achieve through recycling, and how to responsibly recycle.
Next, the practical application, phase 2, is the facet of E.C.O. in which students can tangibly make an impact on the environment. The first step of practicality is to purchase a weekly recycling collection service as well as to form an environmental conservation club. The club will post signs on and above recycling bins to distinguish from the trash as well as to identify what actually is recyclable. Budgeting for these purchases will come from either the school's budget, if accessible, or from the funds we may receive from the Gordon Elevate program. The final phase of E.C.O. will be directed to the students and will advance their outdoor immersion. Phase 3 will combine the awareness training and practical application of the past 2 phases and further apply it so that students can become leaders in the community. Leadership positions include heading the Environmental Conservation Club, planning outdoor awareness events, and as well as just overall sustaining the program throughout the school. 10 years ago, Prestonwood attempted to have a recycling club. Unfortunately, however, enough support was not generated and the attempt ultimately failed. To combat this past failed attempt, we have partnered with the City of Plano Environmental Waste Services to ensure that with our developed leadership, E.C.O. will be sustained throughout the school and the Environmental Conservation Club will be the primary way of recycling.
Now, you may be asking yourself, why would students want to join this program? Well, through this program, students will have the opportunity to partake in service hours that you can put on your college application. It will look good on your resume, and there will be a strong student presence, so much so that the teachers there will become the sponsors. Now, why are we motivated for this? In Genesis, God calls us to steward and maintain the earth, and that affects each and every one of us. Our generation and the generation after us are responsible for making sure that people down the road are able to enjoy and partake in the nature and in the world that God has designed for us today.
Now, recycling is just the tip of the iceberg. The first action in a series of habits that will lead to conservation at Prestonwood. 10 years ago, this plan failed because students weren't equipped with leadership skills. But now, we are. I envision a club 10 years from now where students are totally immersed in the culture of conservation, where they can have community gardens, weekly campus cleanups, and deeply care about preserving the natural beauties of this earth. If we start with something as mundane as recycling today, think about where we can be in changing the culture of Prestonwood 10 years from now. Thank you.
all, it's a really nice and strong, engaging presentation of your work. I really appreciated that. I find problems like these that are so big that you're able to sort of distill it down to some discernible and definable actions, really a strong approach. I wanted to ask a little bit more. You did some nice work in reflecting on how previous efforts hadn't worked, and from what I think I heard, the main lever to making that change is using resources at the city level to help make that happen. I got the impression that there were also some opposition more administratively at the school, which would be an important thing to also work on. Can you sort of probe at how that can get broached or overcome?
Yeah, so we actually emailed my high school principal and we proposed this idea and we got very positive response, which is something that we weren't really expecting because we knew about this past attempt. And another thing is, with our goal of our club is to also bring in the administration. It's something that as Christians we're all called to. And we think if we have this strong student leadership that the first attempt did not have, I think that'll be better at bringing in the administration so they can see that this is something we care about as a student body. It's something that we want at our school, and I think the administration will listen to that and respect that.
Yeah, great presentation. And I really like the fact that you're trying something that didn't work in the past. A lot of time that's a barrier, people don't continue beyond that. Timing's different, things change, and I think the ability to readdress an issue is pretty powerful. I was pretty interested in the outdoor immersion events that you talked about, which is kind of the phase 3. So someone could maybe elaborate a little bit more as far as what that event looks like, who's taking part, and what you're trying to accomplish?
Yes, sir. So the outdoor immersion program would be one that takes student leaders from the latter part of your high school experience, so more seniors, juniors, and sophomores, and would open up opportunities for them to partake in internships, to lead service projects around the community, to step into leadership programs and leadership avenues within the school, and it would be all sponsored through the E.C.O program.
Another thing is we're blessed to have it's called Arbor Hills Nature Preserve, and it's adjacent to campus. And but we don't really do anything with it, and I think that's an opportunity for us as we move into like later stages of the group to tie that in. How can we have outdoor learning opportunities to build that empathy for conservation and the environment through hands-on experiences?
Loved your presentation. I always like a little drama, fun, and props. That's good. I think this is great, actually. I think that, as Tom said, the times are different. 10 years ago, people were less aware and into conservation and recycling and eco things. So I think you have, just at a baseline, a different community of students to start this with. So in addition to outdoor immersion, which I think your answer was good, tell me a little bit more about the awareness training, other than sort of just promotion within the school to get students aware of what's going on. What are you thinking, and did you learn anything from the other bright spots that you might take and bring into this program?
So we were actually inspired by our students from Brazil in our group, because what we talked about when we were talking to them about, most of us from America had similar experiences. We all go to private Christian schools and we didn't have a good sustainable recycling program. But when they started talking about their program, they have 5 different recycling bins that they sort their trash into. And we were just so blown away by that concept. And so we want to take from them kind of what they have in their school already, their pre-existing, and how they start in kindergarten so early, educating, and I think that will also help the sustainability of our group in having young students very early on who are thinking about this, and that will grow throughout their experiences as they continue to learn about this concept.
Another thing that I may add is that what we learned from our bright spot is we went to the garden school, which is about 5 minutes away in Beverly, and we saw that through the director of the garden school that it's very important and vital to ourselves and to our humanity to be a part of nature. And so our awareness training would also incorporate maybe some hands-on activities and just learning more about how we are supposed to be connected with nature.
I do like what you had said about, I think what you had talked about, service hours and people doing internships. I think that's a really key thing. I don't know if all Christian schools, but most Christian schools and high schools even around here require service hours. So that could be a really interesting way to really ramp this and build this into something sophisticated and sustainable for your school.
I think that's tough.
Good job.